We're a little bit older, and granted, we're not ancient. We're not crazy old, but
I feel ancient.
you were like preaching to the choir just now.
I come so far away.
You know what I mean. Student crossover. This is the student crossover. This is the first installment, our first episode. Very excited. Pew, 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 pew. We have a wonderful guest here. But before we get into that, I want to just give a brief, overview of what my podcast is about. I thought of the concept based on my personal experience. And right now, of course, I am a student, but I also thought about a lot of the identities that I take on outside of being a student. I'm a daughter as well, of course. I'm a friend, I'm a sister, at times a partner, a mom, quote unquote. Not exactly my kids, but I still consider them, my kids. And I'm also an employee. Of course, we all need money to survive. So I also do have 2 jobs actually outside of my main job. But that's what this podcast is going to focus on. It's going to focus on students who have, multiple identities and how we manage, I guess, the stressors of that and, prioritize that and how we manage the different things that we do, to keep us sane. Because at the end of the day, we are students, we are still people. And it's very beneficial, I think, to talk to people, especially people within our same ages, our same lifestyle habits and patterns and things like that, and get together and discuss that. So with all that said, I have the lovely Sydney Norheim here with me. Clap, clap, round of applause. I have Sydney here with me. And a little bit of a background. I'll start with myself and then I'll let Sydney kind of take the reins for herself. But again, I'm a full-time student, so I do a full workload. On top of that, I also have an announcing job that I do at Seneca for our sports teams. But my main job, which is the first industry job that I've had, is at Chorus Entertainment. And there I am a promotions assistant. It's mainly a lot of emailing right now because we're still on the brink of COVID and things like that. But I handle contesting a lot. I handle creating different copies for commercials that we do, different promos that we do. I handle talking to clients. I handle talking to, obviously my coworkers to coordinate different things, different events. I do a lot of on-site activation for events that we have and things like that. I do a lot of organizing behind the scenes. And so I have, like I said, this is my first career job, so I don't have a crazy amount of experience. I've been there for a couple months, but I think I have a pretty good idea and can speak to the perspective of what it means to be a student employee, but more specifically a student employee in the actual industry that I'm studying to be in the future. And so that's my take on it. I know Sydney here, my wonderful guest, she has a very similar experience because she too works at Chorus Entertainment. So I'll let her speak to that now, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty, the fun stuff. Sydney?
Hello, how's it going? So yes, like Marissa had said, I also work at Chorus Entertainment. I also do promotions, mostly street team, going to events, things like that. Sometimes I MC, sometimes I am I'm just all over the place. But I also have another job. I work at Pet Value, so it's not super exciting, but I have always had a love for animals and especially, your regular home body pets, dogs, cats, all that kind of stuff. So I do enjoy working there. It's kind of been hard being able to juggle 2 jobs and then have school full time. So it's definitely been a challenge, but that's pretty much my story there.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like we both not just have a unique experience in the fact that we're student workers, in the society that we're in, everyone kind of has to work to get by, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. But like I said, we have a unique perspective because of the fact that we're both in the industry that we're studying to be in. I guess, so one thing that I want to talk to you about, one of the many things actually, is how do you manage, I guess, being a student, but also an employee in the industry? Is there any kind of gripes you have with it? Are you loving it? Is there something you're struggling with? Because trust me too. And I'm sure we'll get into that. But talk to me about how you manage that kind of stuff.
To be honest, I could be doing more things at Chorus if I wasn't in school, which is I guess maybe it's sad because even though I want to finish, obviously, the program, and I want to be able to hone in on all the skills and be able to just say, I've completed it and have that under my belt. At the same time, it's hard because I love working at Chorus. I could be working there a little bit more because I know sometimes they want me there, and I can't make it because I am in school and or I'm at my other job. So it's kind of hard to delegate it really, but I do try my best, but sometimes it can be a little taxing on me both physically and mentally.
Yes.
So
honestly, no, like tell me about it. Like you mentioned something earlier and it was very funny to me because I felt that like in my chest. You had said you'd want to do more there, but you can't, and that's because you have other obligations like school or like your other job. And I felt that, and I think I joked to you one time or someone else before, but like I kind of considered, like not seriously, but I kind of considered dropping out of school to like just be there full time.
I did too. Fully.
Yeah, because like I got the job over the summer, and I think you did as well. And like in the summer we have a little bit more free time, or at least I have a little bit more free time. And so I was doing so much hours there. I was doing like a full, like 40 hours there. Like, let's be real. I was doing 40, if not more hours just there. And I loved it so much. And then so having to go to school now, it
almost felt like you were going backwards, even though you're not going backwards, because you want to finish school and you want to make sure that you have that under your belt. Because I thought the same thing too. Like I said to myself, should I even really go back?
Yeah,
like I knew that I was going to be stressed about money because working, like being in school full time, I don't get as many hours regardless of whatever job I have. And even having 2 jobs, it's still hard to juggle both of them and be able to get money to be able to survive in general. But with this job, it's like, I was always so excited. I'm like, yes, I'm going into work. Like it's
fun. And I think, no, honestly, and like talking about this, we both have big smiles on our face because I think that just speaks to how passionate we are about what we're doing and the fact that we have our foot in the door at least. Like you hear a lot of this industry is connection based, and so I feel good about doing the things I'm doing and meeting the people I'm meeting and like growing my kind of network in that way. But at least at the scale that I know that I want to do, the things I want to do, I have to learn more. And even these 2 years at Seneca isn't going to teach me everything, of course. So I know that it was the wise decision, and I feel like you probably feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's wise to just stay and stick out the last year that we have. But again, it was just like the passion and like knowing the people and just loving what I was doing so much that made me be like, man, I want to stay here. I don't want to cut back my hours for school. Like school kind of feels like a chore sometimes.
It does, but I mean, I feel like at the same time, a lot of our coworkers I'm sure, I feel like for me personally, I feel like a lot of my coworkers were glad and like happy to see me go to school because they knew that I was going to school for that. So then I can have that under my belt and be able to be like, hey.
You have the diploma at the end of this. Like you have the official certificate that said, hey, I completed 2 years here. These are my skill sets. This was like, these are my course addendums. If you ever need that much, like, this is what I can do. And it's not just me saying it. I've been approved by like an institution to say that I can do it for sure. And even it's funny you talk on that because there was a couple times during school where I've had to say, hey, sorry, I can't go to this event. I have a class, or, I can't jump in on this meeting because I have a class or I have an assignment due that I really need to focus on. But there's been a couple where I've given school the short end of the stick.
Last week I did that on Thursday. We have like an online class. So I felt like, because they wanted me in to do some work in the station and help out with extra things. And I asked my manager, I said, hey, can I bring my laptop, have class on, but still do work at the same time? So then I could it was hard to delegate both having online class and trying to listen into the lecture, but then also doing work, which I mean, the work is pretty straightforward and I've been doing it for quite a few months now, so I'm familiar with it. But yeah, I don't know. It was just, that was hard to deal with. And then it got to a point where I was like, I can't necessarily be on this Zoom call for the rest of the time because it was a little bit too much, but I wanted to try to do both. Yeah. It worked, but it also didn't really work.
I agree. Like there's been times where I've been on meetings in class, like if there's a Zoom thing happening or whatever, I'll have like one earbud in or something like that. And like you could do it like maybe once or twice, but it's not sustainable to like do that continually. Which kind of brings me to my next point. Like I think we already touched on this, but like prioritization. So like I had mentioned that like there had been times where I blew off doing a school assignment when maybe I should have in order to go to this meeting or go to this event, or vice versa. I've told my manager, sorry, I can't go to this thing because I have to do this thing for school. And so that's just my method of prioritizing. I kind of, I guess, decide what's more important at the time, at the day, whatever the event is, whatever the assignment is. I decide what takes precedence at that point, and that's kind of how I get through it. So I'm asking you, I guess, how do you prioritize?
So I guess...
And it's okay if you don't have an answer. Like I said, like to me, it's not black and white.
I feel like because it might sound a little bad, because I feel like I take working at Chorus and just working in general above all of my schoolwork, just because that's how I've been so far this year, this third semester is just, I've been, although I do put specific time away for me to work on schoolwork, I don't know if a lot of my assignments and a lot of things I've been doing have been to my best potential,
to the top,
because I only give myself like a little bit of time to do it, or I give myself like one day to do like all these different things because I'm working every other day. I feel like I maybe should focus a little more on school, but at the same time, I also don't want to give up any of my time at work. Like I don't, because I need to be able to pay for things.
I feel the exact same way. There are times where I'm like, and granted, I still want to make sure that I'm putting out good stuff for school, because I know that, you know, I have a couple goals in terms of school, what I want to do and the marks that I want to achieve and stuff like that, as I'm sure you do too. But there have been times where I'm like, man, if this was last year, I would have spent so much longer on this. Or like if this was like, if I got this assignment last week when I had a little bit more free time, I would have spent this much time on it. But like, unfortunately, I don't have the time to allocate to it right now. I just don't, because I have this thing for work, and I gotta focus on it right now. And that's just what it is. I don't know. I feel like I'm managing it relatively well for now though, but I know you and I have also talked about burnout in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so like I said, I got this job in the summer, you got this job in the summer as well. And so it's still maybe a little bit too early to have burnout related to just being a student and just being an employee. I'm sure we both have other areas in our life where we may have experienced burnout. Yeah, there's
it's not just burnout, it's not just cut and dry like one thing. It's because when we're talking about like school and we're talking about work, but there's also other sides of it. Like you said earlier, you're a daughter, you're a sister, you're a friend. You have a personal life outside of it as well. So when you tie in a lot of your personal life and, you know, relationships and all that kind of stuff, that toys with your emotions and it toys with your head, and like you can have emotional burnout, and it's like, it can be like not only like emotional burnout. Like I feel like for me, when we talk about burnout, it's like, it's basically like everything combined. So it's like schoolwork, school in general, like being able to get to school, and working, making sure that both your jobs are happy, because there's been drama at like one of my other jobs, and it's like and then on top of it, like trying to see friends, trying to go out and enjoy yourself.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up, because honestly, that's a big thing a lot of the times. And like, I've experienced burnout, you've experienced burnout, many people have, and we'll get into that. But I feel like a lot of the times when we're going through phases that we're very, very busy in our life, because like you said, we're not just students, we're not just employees, we are friends, we are lovers, we are daughters, you know, we have other obligations. We forget sometimes to like take care of ourselves. And it's all in good nature. It's not like we're purposely trying to like deprive ourselves of joy, but it's like we just don't have time to do the things we used to sometimes. And so that contributes to the burnout, but it's also a way that we try to not burn out, because we're like, I don't have the time to go do this thing that I used to love, because I have to go do this thing for work. And once I finish this thing for work, then I will go, you know, get my nails done or go hang out with a friend at a movie or whatever it is. But then sometimes it'll be months and I won't realize until afterward that I haven't done anything for myself, because I've just been on the go like for forever, it feels like.
Like,
and
even
it's ridiculous.
Even on like Thanksgiving weekends, like I'm like coming back on coming back on from Thanksgiving, it's like I've never really been big on Thanksgiving. Like it's a holiday, you get it off.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
sometimes you can get together with like family and stuff like that. And I don't have a whole lot of family, but I feel like for me, I didn't really get a Thanksgiving. I didn't really get time off, because everybody is like, yeah, you get Monday off. And you know, like my other job, like Pet Value, they obviously had Monday off. So of course, like the store wasn't open. So that was a day off from that job. But working at Chorus, which I'm not going to obviously complain, but like I wanted to take as many shifts there as I could, again, because I need, you know, to be able to support myself. So I basically worked like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, and I worked all day those days. So it's like I didn't really get time to do anything for myself, which is what you mean, like even just doing stuff just personally for yourself, just to treat yourself, you know.
No,
whatever.
For real. No, I feel that. Like even just, and I joked about this in another assignment we had for Craig. Shout out to Craig. What I did over the Thanksgiving to treat myself, quote unquote, for this burnout, or to like kind of evade it a little bit because I was feeling severely burnt out, was I sent my little cousins who are living with me, I sent them to their grandparents' house, i.e. my aunt's house, in order, because when you like the theme of this podcast, we are crossover people. We have multiple identities that we take on. And so when you have kids at home, I find it's hard to relax, because even if I have, quote unquote, a day off where I'm not doing anything, like I still have to make sure they're okay, right? And so like they get up at a certain time, I can't sleep in, you know what I mean? So like I sent them away to kind of get that for myself. But even it's crazy that like sleeping in is the only thing that I can do right now to like it's that's the
being
thing I
able
look
to sleep
for,
in. I don't know what that's like anymore.
Honestly, exactly. And like it's crazy because it's like it's the small things sometimes, but sometimes the small things are the things that you neglect, and then when you finally get it, it's like, wow, who knew 8 hours could like be beneficial to my mental health?
I know.
It's insane. But whew, I don't know about you, Cindy. I'm tired.
Yeah, no, I've been up since 4.
Yeah, oh my god.
So.
See, there's a prioritization again. It's you're probably doing some sort of schoolwork or some sort of course.
I had to get up early to come here.
Oh yeah, because you come from Kitchener.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to get up that early. If I did, I probably would have dropped out. You know, I said I considered it. I definitely would have dropped out.
No, I've contemplated dropping out so many times just because of things like that.
I feel that. But I'm glad that you didn't, because guess what? That means you could be on my podcast.
Hey,
it all works out. I mean, this is working out for one assignment, but it's all working out. I do want to thank you so much for being here, for speaking on the topic with me, because I knew, again, I think I mentioned this in the beginning, but I knew that you would be the perfect person to have on as a guest for this, because we have such similar experiences with where we're working and age and where we are in school. And so I want to thank you one more time for taking the time to be here with me and talk on this.
Of course, it was a pleasure.
Oh, do you hear that? It's a pleasure.
It's an old-timey word. Pleasure.
Because we're both babushkas. It's an old-timey word. That's it. Thank you so much, Sydney. Again, this is the Student Crossover Podcast. We'll be talking about different student crossovers every single week. Today we got student employees in the industry. Very, long-winded title. But next week we'll have student athletes. The following week we have student parents, and we have student teachers coming up after that. It's been a slice. We'll catch you guys next week on Student Crossover.